South Africa, a country known for its diverse culture and complex history, but beneath the beauty lies a dark underworld, ruled by figures who thrive in the shadows. Today, we delve into the life of one such figure, one of the world's most notorious drug lords, who ran a multi-billion rand drug empire from his mansion in Johannesburg, and has evaded getting arrested for over 20 years. His name is Nelson Pablo Yester-Garrido.
I had to tell you all my enemies are dead and I'm happy. I'm gonna see them in fucking hell when I arrive there.
How did he do it? The story of Garrido has all the elements that would make a hit Hollywood blockbuster spy action movie. Fast cars, Russian mobsters, submarines, arrests, escapes, and strip clubs. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Originally from Cuba, Nelson Pablo Garrido arrived in South Africa back in 1997. He had fled from the United States and was wanted by both police and drug cartels for trafficking allegations and stealing huge amounts of cash totaling to about $10 million, or over 180 million rands from the drug cartels. Yester-Garrido had one of his first legal problems with justice in 1982 for illegal possession of weapons. He was arrested in 1989 at Miami International Airport for forging his passport and credit cards. From the late 1980s to early 1997, Yester was involved in the trafficking of cocaine and other drugs, operating with Colombian cartels. The same cartels he stole money from. It was also claimed that he was a KGB, schooled intelligence agent, trained to fly fighter jets, a real-life James Bond.
James Bond.
Before he got to South Africa, he was heavily involved in drug trafficking for the Colombian Cali cartel. They were looking for more ways to traffic more cocaine, so they gave Garrido over 180 million rands cash that was bundled in rubber bands and put in plastic bags. They gave him this money so he could buy a Russian military submarine from this Russian mobster so as to remain undetected and distribute large quantities of cocaine to their buyers.
They offering me fucking nuclear weapon. Can you sell nuclear weapon? I said, you. I say, are you mad? I said, man, keep yourself together. We're looking for a fucking submarine. We don't want no fucking bombs.
However, Garrido had other plans. He decided to take the money for himself and run. He flew to Europe and tried to hide in Amsterdam. Now wanted by United States justice and drug traffickers, Garrido fled Amsterdam and settled in St Johannesburg in South Africa. This emphasized the fact that Yester-Garrido seemed to view South Africa as a country that would hide him from the law. This indeed seemed to be the case for him. He changed his name to Antonio Lamas and told people he was a Mexican businessman who traded and sold airplane parts. While in South Africa, he was linked to the network of now convicted drug trafficker Glenn Agliotti and former corrupt police chief and former president of Interpol Jackie Selebi. In South Africa, the police chief is the highest-ranking officer. The only one higher than him is the Minister of Police. Selebi was the first African to be made president of Interpol, a worldwide organization that fights crime, but besides all of this, Selebi was in Glenn Agliotti's pocket. The same Glenn Agliotti who was friends with Yester-Garrido. When Selebi got caught about a decade later, it was revealed that he had received about 1.2 million rands in bribes from Agliotti. The Selebi trial was massive and could be a whole video in itself. Nelson Yester-Garrido was connected with powerful people. Garrido ran his drug empire from a mansion in a wealthy suburb of Hyde Park, Johannesburg, where some of South Africa's politicians reside. Politicians like Julius Malema and the country's current president, Cyril Ramaphosa. By 2002, he was comfortable in South Africa. He bought another mansion around Johannesburg, a bunch of fast luxury cars, and had a child with his then 23-year-old girlfriend. But what he didn't know was that he was still being investigated by the US government. Still in 2002, there was a TV show called America's Most Wanted, which was a TV show that showed the most wanted criminals in America. On one episode, they featured Garrido, and one South African viewer who was watching the show that night identified Garrido as Lamas, the fake name he was using, and so he told the police. So in April of that same year, The South African police, together with Interpol and the DEA from United States, raided one of Garrido's mansions and found 2 expensive luxury cars and an amount just over 300,000 rands in cash, 20 fake passports. He was then arrested. In May, he appeared in court, and that's when the DEA revealed that this guy was a wanted criminal that had been on the run for at least 12 years.
I've been on the run for a long time, man. I've been in the run since 1990. I'm still running.
How many different identities did you have?
I cannot count the high, man.
He was accused by the court of also using more than 20 fake names across multiple countries, and that he should be extradited to be imprisoned in the USA instead of South Africa. But little did they know Garrido had a secret weapon in this court case. Lawrence Hodes, the same lawyer that Glenn Agliotti was using, defended Garrido. In 2005, the South African Supreme Court of Appeals decided to detain Garrido while they were in talks with the US government to extradite Garrido, but to everyone's surprise, by 2006, he was released. After just 1 year. 5 years later, in 2011, Garrido was again arrested in connection to an operation that seized 706 kilograms of cocaine from a container ship in Port Elizabeth. The ship was coming from South America on its way to Zimbabwe.
Packets, that is, each one of these weighs 1 kg. And then in terms of the estimated street value of this is 720 million rands.
Found at the bottom of a 30-level vessel, the container wasn't for South African use or consumption. It was to be offloaded in India and would have gone via Singapore. The cargo was loaded in Brazil.
Besides the cocaine, there were 22,000 liters of cooking oil suspected to be a cover-up for the huge amount of drugs that was being transported. How did the police find out about the ship?
We had the idea that there will be a vessel that will be coming, and that vessel will be carrying cocaine. It was not destined for South African consumption. It was en route to India. It has to pass South African waters, and then it has to go to Singapore before it goes to its final destination. The street value of the cocaine that has been seized is approximately 720 million rands.
And then, Mr. Libya, in terms of the seriousness of this crime, obviously it seems like a planned crime. It's gone through a number of countries as well. In terms of the work that was done, the stakeholders that you worked with, and also what will happen now to the seized contents?
This is a serious offense. It is generally what is called transnational organized crime, because it is committed across various borders of different countries. So we work jointly with other law enforcement organizations, the first one being Interpol. So Interpol from these various countries, we work together in ensuring that we go to the bottom of who are the perpetrators. The consignment that we have seized is going to be evaluated by our scientists. The forensic science laboratory is going to evaluate this, and after that evaluation they will produce the reports in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, so that you don't necessarily have to keep the consignment. You can rely on the sample as well as the report. So the rest of the consignment we are going to destroy, so that under no circumstance may it ever come to reach any of the innocent people.
Together with the Hawks plus customs officers, the South African police received an anonymous tip and they acted on it. With the help of other foreign law enforcement agencies, they were able to track the ship as it passed through various countries. However, foul play intervened, because a week later, after the container drug bust, only 166 kilograms of cocaine were brought in as evidence. Various claims were made about the evidence room in the Port Elizabeth Police Forensic Lab, where the cocaine was kept being broken into. 5 suspects were arrested, including a police officer, because of this. In the middle of all that chaos, it was rumored that a man called Chris Caremitis, or Mr. Cocaine as he was known in the streets, was the one who gave the police the tip-off about the container ship. But before this could be confirmed, it was later discovered that Mr. Cocaine was shot and had lost his life at a wedding 2 months after the container drug bust. Caremitis was allegedly also running in the drug smuggling circles and wanted the cocaine for himself. He apparently lived a lavish lifestyle. He owned multiple properties in different countries like Thailand, Brazil, and also owned expensive mansions and condos along the coast of Cape Town. He was neighbors with Glenn Agliotti and friends with Garrido. After the drug bust in Port Elizabeth, he laid low, and the only reason he came back to South Africa was because he had to attend his best friend's wedding, and that's when they got him. Upon the police arresting Garrido in connection to the container drug ship, his house in Santon was raided again before they took him in. This time they found a gun that was registered under Mr. Cocaine's name, Chris Caremitis. This gave the police a strong suspicion that the container drug ship and Caremitis' demise were linked, and Garrido had something to do with both of them. However, charges against him were later dropped by the Port Elizabeth courts because the state couldn't find someone who would translate the Brazilian court documents into English. It was later discovered that the prosecutors in Garrido's case took a bribe that affected the investigation of the case, and the fact he was also connected with the chief of police definitely helped.
Just you're fucking curious, man, eh? Just leave it like that. Let's not talk about those things.
In December 2017, he was arrested in Rome, and on July 16, 2019, he was extradited to the United States as part of a 2015 investigation that placed Yester as a member of a ring that distributed marijuana in Florida. He pleaded guilty to the charges in August 2020 and was sentenced to 5 years in prison in December of that year. It's still unclear as to why he wasn't arrested in South Africa and when he left South Africa. It has been recently revealed that Garrido's sentence only lasted 14 months.
Are you kidding me?
He was released on 24th of January 2022. What do you think about Nelson Pablo Garrido? How has he managed to avoid a long jail sentence? Do you think he'll come back to South Africa? Let us know in the comments. If you like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.